Welcome to the fourth session of this fourth module. In the previous class, we have discussed the various problems associated with this wind turbines actually. So today, in this fourth session of the fourth module, let us discuss the wind machines, which are actually the one which converts the energy possessed by the wind or velocity that has been carried away by this wind is been converted into a useful energy. So before I just talk about this, the wind machines or wind turbines, basically the velocity with which the air is coming plays a very major role. Is the normal air can make the turbines to rotate? No. Basically, how much ever the lower speed for which we set the turbine blades to rotate, so that much is useful for us. But still, what happens due to the its own design restrictions or constraints, maybe a mass or maybe the diameter or maybe the bearings which have been placed in the hub of a hub is nothing but the centermost part of the wind turbine for which the blades will be attached actually. Those things plays a very major role. In such cases, what is the minimum speed is required to start most of all wind turbines? It is around as per the statistics, it is around 8 kilometers per hour. 8 kilometers per hour it has to blow. The minimum wind speed is required. That means if you convert that into meters per second, it comes to be around 2.5 or 2 meters per second. So even the 12.6 kilometers per hour or 3.5 meters per second is a typical cut-in speed. That means that the minimum speed to make it to rotate is 2 kilometers per hour. I'm sorry, 8 kilometers per hour, and then the cut-in speed is nothing but 12.6 kilometers per hour. When a small turbine starts generating the power, the 36 to 54 kilometers per hour produces a maximum generated power. That means when we want any a turbine, if it is a turbine like this, the minimum speed to start it is 8 kilometers per hour. Whereas when we want the same turbine to makes it to a maximum power generation. So any device is been designed to have its own lower limits and the upper limits. Is it clear? So the lower limit is 8 kilometers per hour and the maximum limit, that means minimum energy generation and the maximum energy generation. The maximum energy generation, even if you take a fan, your household fans, it will start at number 1 and it will have a maximum at 5. So similarly, in order to rotate, in order to make the wind turbine to rotate, we need to have 8 kilometers per hour or 2 meters per second of the wind power to generate it. Meanwhile, if you want a maximum power to generate, then it may a normal one, in an average one, a normal one requires 36 to 54 kilometers per hour of wind is required to generate the power. If it exceeds maximum of 90 kilometers per hour, the turbine is stopped or braked. That is what we call it as a cutout speed. The cut-in speed is 12 to 13 kilometers per hour, and the uh, cutout is nothing but 90 kilometers per hour. What do you mean by this cut-in and cutout temperature? Cut-in and cutout speeds? No, I'll tell you. If this is a turbine and we have got three blades to this, the wind basically with 8 kilometers per hour makes this turbine blades to starts rotating. When it starts rotating, all of a sudden it will not starts generating the power electricity. So what happens when it reaches, if it keeps rotating, and when it reaches at a speed of 12.6 or 13 kilometers per hour, so that what happens, there will be a cut-in speed. That means that is the speed at which the electricity will starts generating. It will starts generating. Now my dear friends, point to be noted is the wind which is coming at 1 minute may also change for the next 1 minute also. So that is the reason why once the speed which reaches at 12.6 kilometers per hour, that is at the cut-in speed, it starts generating the electricity. And for a normal power wind machines I'm just talking about, once if it reaches Once if it reaches at a speed of 36 or 54 maximum kilometers per hour, it will be rotating with a very fast rate. When it is rotating with a very fast rate, obviously the maximum power will be generated. If it exceeds more than that, that is what I was just talking about. If the hurricane comes, or there may be some cyclone, there may be a storm, then what happens? After the 54 kilometers per hour, if the speed reaches at 90 kilometers per hour, that may come around 25 kilometers meters per second, then what happens? The turbines will have its own an related interlocked system will be there, which makes a braking systems. That means it will brake and it will stops the rotating of the blades. This is in order to avoid the damages. It is in order to damage the uh, avoid the damages to the wind turbine. So what happens? It will brake automatically by stopping it. So this is what we call it as a cutout speed. The starting speed, the minimum speed, and then the cut-in speed, the maximum speed, and then the cutout speed. These 4 points are required for any type of turbines to be operated. Then between the power wind and the velocity, between the cut-in speed and the rated speed, where the maximum output can be reached, the power output will increase cubically with the wind speed. That is what we have given in the previous class also. Rho into A into U cube. That is what we have given. That is nothing but the power. For example, if you take a wind speed, if you take the wind speed doubles, the power output will increase 8 times. If the wind speed is doubled, then the power output will increase 8 times more than the previous one. That is the cubic relation which makes the wind speed such an important factor for the wind power. Basically, this uh, higher the winds, the better the power generation. Not up to that cutoff limit or cutout limit what I was just talking about. The cutout limit below that, how much ever it is windier, how much ever it is blowing more, so much of healthy generation of electricity will be there. The amount of power generated by a turbine is always uh, to the power of 3. That means you can imagine what will be that the power that can be generated. This means that increasing the average wind speed maybe from 6 to 7, if I increases the speed is around 6 meters per second, then if it is increases to 1 meter per second, that means 6 plus 1 7 meters per second. If I increase it, then it increases 60% more power. Are you getting my point? If there is a wind is blowing with 5 meters per second, if I increase it to 6 meters per second, if I increase me, if it increases at 6 meters per second, there is an increase of only 1 meter per second in the speed. But still, the power generated by these wind machines or turbines will be 60% more than the initial one. That is the beauty of this the wind turbines. Basically, from the same turbine, and an increase annual production can also be increased by maybe around 30 to 40%. They might increase it. Basically, these wind turbines they have been started in 5000 BC itself, where they used to use it for pumping the water from the wells. Is it clear? So on the grind grains, they used to use it. Say for example, if you have a grains, if you want to grind it, then they used to have it. But we, the advanced people or these era people, they have found out that it can also be used to convert this to generate electrical energy. So earlier, older days, our seniors, our ancestors, they used to use this to pump the water, and they used to use it for grinding the grains. That was an advancement. Now, whatever we are using it, we are just making it more sophisticated. That's it. It is nothing but researching it is okay. We are just searching it, which has been already existing. Is it clear? So the majority of the wind turbines, basically will be the wind turbine is now. I just want to define this. A wind turbine is a device that converts the winds. kinetic energy into electrical energy. Okay, so the kinetic energy into mechanical energy and mechanical energy into electrical energy. Wind turbines are manufactured in a wide range of sizes. Now, starting from one blade to the five or six number of blades, till the height also it matters. We cannot have all the wind turbines of the same size and dimensions. Based on the locations where we are going to place it, based on the capacity of the wind turbine, we are going to design it. Is it clear? That is the reason why. See the variety ranges of sizes. Nowadays, I was just talking in the previous class that they have invented without the blades wind turbines without blades. I don't know how the design will be with either a horizontal or it can be a vertical axis. As of now, it is only horizontal and vertical axis. Horizontal means if you have the blades like this, the blade's centermost portion is mounted horizontally with respect to the column. If this is a column or a support, the blades have been always placed in a horizontal axis. The hub which is holding the blade will be horizontally placed. So such kind of things we call it as a horizontal wind turbines. Basically, this horizontal axis wind turbines also called as a HAWT. HAWT, that is horizontal axis HA wind turbines. That is what they popularly called. If the blades are vertical like this, and it is moving around like this with respect to the column, if it is moving around like this and its axis is vertically with respect to the ground level or with respect to the column that we are going to make the support, so that is what we call it as a vertical axis. The wind turbine is also defined as a device that converts the wind's kinetic energy into electrical energy. It is being repeated. The wind turns the propeller like blades of a turbine around a rotor, which spins a generator which creates electricity. Air turbines are devices that turn the kinetic energy of the wind and changes in air into electrical energy. In general, they consist of the following components. A wind turbine will always have a, whether it may be vertical or it may be a horizontal one, it will always have the basic components. But I'll show you in detail when I go for explaining the principle of working. A rotor or a generator and a structural support component which can take the form of either a tower or a rotor yaw. It can be of anything. Okay, a rotary yaw mechanism are both are being used. These are having two types of wind turbines. One is a horizontal axis turbine and the other one is the vertical axis wind turbines. Now, before that, as basic components, a rotor will be there, a generator is there, and a structural support. Structural support is very important because it has to sustain all the odds of the environment, the variations also it has to experience it, and it has to sustain that. So that is what we call it as a support component. Now, when it comes to the classifications, we have a horizontal axis turbines and then vertical axis wind turbines. Now this is called as a HAWT and this is VAWT are the two types. Now horizontal axis wind turbine. When I'm talking about a horizontal axis wind turbine, basically what happens, the majority of the wind turbines consist of three blades mounted to a tower made up of some tubular steel or material which has got a higher strength for resisting the vibrations and holding that weight of the turbines. Basically, there are less common varieties with two blades or maybe with the concrete or a steel lattice towers will be there. Now, this this tower this is a hollow tower actually, basically. So why it is only because we inside the tower they will also make a number of ladders in order to go up in case of any maintenance or in case of any repair. There should be a margin or there should be some ways to reach that place. So that what happens inside that the steel tubular structure tower, there will be a ladders will be there, or there may be a lift also, because it will be very big one. So that is the one. The ground level or maybe around 100 feet or more above the ground, the tower allows the turbine to take the advantage of the faster wind speeds found at higher altitudes, minimum of maybe around 100 feet. Once again, it is not restricted, but it might vary with respect to the wind availability also. Turbines catch the wind's energy with their propeller-like blades. The blades may be of different shapes. Okay, those blades will always have a propeller shape, propeller in size shape. It is only because when I just will explain you when I talk about aerodynamic factors of this propeller blades. Okay, then I'll go in deeper. But as of now, you just think that the blades are always made in propeller shapes, which act much like an aeroplane wing, something like an wings only. Now, if you can see this, it will be always like this. A small width will be there, then there will be a broader like this. A small width, and then there will be a broader like this. So such designs are nothing but a propeller one that you might have observed with the aeroplane wings. It's okay. Nowadays, even the people are changing the shape of our fan blades also, domestic fan blade also. By changing that, we can increase the kinetic energy of the wind which is blowing over here. And by changing this propeller designs, they can increase the enhancing or harnessing this kinetic energy. Now, basically, what happens when the wind blows, a pockets of low pressure air forms on one side of the blade. The low pressure air pockets then pulls the blade towards it, causing the rotor to turn. Basically, that you can experience it if you find out your domestic fan blades. If you consider a fan blades, a domestic fan blade, at only if it is rotating like this, only at one end you will always see the dust getting accumulated. What is the reason for this? The reason is very simple, that it is experiencing some reactive forces at that particular point. So that is the reason why we always experience it at one end. So the similar thing will also happen over here, but the only difference is the domestic fans are power consuming, whereas the wind turbines are power generating devices. Is it clear? The low pressure air pockets then pulls the blade towards it, causing the rotor to turn. This is what we call it as the aerodynamic lift. I just shall go in depth later. The force of the lift is much stronger than wind's force against the front side of the blade. So that what happens, which is called as a drag. Now, one better example what I can see it is, I can give you is, now if you see, if you check this, if you check this, if something is moving like this, or if a paper is moving like this, if a paper is moving like this, whatever, if I do it like this, now this is what it is lifting. The air which makes this to lift. At meanwhile, when it is passing through that, the stagnation points at the rear end. The stagnation point at the rear end makes it to drag it. It just drags it backwards. So that is what we call it as a drag force. Now that is the reason why if you see the Formula One car, have you seen a Formula One car? Formula One car is the one of famous car where it goes with the maximum speed. The race cars, they always go with a very high speed. That is the reason why they are always near to the ground, so that when they go faster, aerodynamic lift should not lift it and throw it backwards. For every action there is equal and opposite reaction. When it is moving with certain velocity, the opposite forces will be equally falling onto that, so that makes this vehicle to move upwards. That is the first point where you can highlight. And even the aeroplanes, when they are going it, The blades will be always like this when they are want to lift it. When they are lifting it, aeroplane when it goes and when they want to take off, during the takeoff the wings will become like this, so that the aerodynamic lift will lift it towards in the air. Is that clear? Then what do you mean by drag force? If you see a sudden car moving like this or a sudden bus, if it is moving like this, you can see the dust particles to swirl over the backside of that. So that is what we call it as an aerodynamic drag that causes. I just go in deeper when I go of this aerodynamic factors. A series of gears increases the, there will be a series of gears will be there in order to multiply and increase it. The rotation of the rotor from about 18 revolutions to, if there is a 18 revolutions, it will increases to 1800 revolutions per minute. So that means 1800 rpm, revolutions per minute. Is that clear? Per second it may be around 30 uh, 30 meters per rps, or it may be 1800 revolutions per second. So much of speed it can multiples. How much ever the mechanical energy is more, so much of electrical energy that we can harness it. Is it clear? And the speed that allows the turbine generator to produce the alternating current or alternating electricity. A streamlined enclosure called as the nacelles or houses key turbine components, usually including the gears or the rotor or the generator, are found within a housing called as a nacelle. Nacelle is nothing but the blades below, behind the blades there will be a dome like structure will be there. This will always have the nacelles. Okay, that I just shall show you in the next figure. Okay, then another key component is that the turbine controller that keeps the rotor speeds from exceeding 55 miles per hour or 56 kilometers per hour to avoid damages with the high winds. That is what I call it as a cutoff. Okay, the anemometer continuously measures the wind speed. The sensor will be always coupled to the sensors of the wind speed to the sensors of the brake. A brake also housed in the nacelle. The rotor mechanically, electrically and hydraulically is emergencies. Explore the interacting graphic about the learn to more about the mechanics of the wind turbines. That is what it matters actually. So basically this drag based turbines are also called as the Sonios turbines, whereas the lift based turbines are also called as Darius turbines. Okay, now if you come to this picture where the horizontal turbine, so basically what happens, this HAWT, that is horizontal axis wind turbines, which main rotor shaft is pointed in the direction of the wind. Basically, if the wind is wind, that is what by the meteorological department, what they do is they always see the direction in which wind will be blowing in all the directions. Actually, in one particular direction, it will be very heavy. So, in that particular directions, the fans blades or a nose is being pointed out in that direction to extract the power. The rotor receives energy from the wind and produces a torque in a low speed shaft, lower speeding shaft. Okay, the shaft will be always, now if you take this is a shaft will be coupled to the blades. Okay, and this, the one with the place where it is been coupled is called as a hub. The hub is the one which assemble, it will have an assemble of the blades. Is it clear? Now that shaft will also coupled with a number of gear systems. I'll show you. A low speed shaft transfers the energy to a gearbox, high speed shaft, and then a generator which are enclosed in the nacelle of the protection. Nacelle for the protection. Okay. Notice how the blades are connected to the rotor and the shaft. They will be equally spaced in order to have a mechanical balance. This shaft is called as a low speed shaft because the wind turns the rotating assembly at a leisurely 10 to 20 revolutions per minute. Typically, the low speed shaft connects to the gearbox, which has a set of gears that increases the output speed of the shaft approximately 1800 rpm. That is what I was just telling. If it rotates at low speed shaft, if it is rotating at 180 rpm, So that will be multiplied 10 times or 100 times and makes it to 180 revolutions per minute. Okay, that is how we can generate the torque 2 pi n t by 60. The power is equal to 2 pi n divided by 60. 2 pi n by 60 into torque. So n is nothing but revolution of the speed. So the power is always directly proportional to the speed and the torque. Okay, 2 pi n t divided by 60 will be the power that can be generated. Now if you say for the same reason, the shaft the shaft from the gearbox is also called as a high-speed shaft. The high-speed shaft is then connected to the generator, which converts this into an alternating current or a voltage. This speed is critical if it is used to turn. If it is used to turn the generator directly, because the frequency of the AC alternating current from the generator is related directly to the rate at which it is turned. Almost Almost all the horizontal axis wind turbines have similar components to those discussed in this article, where there are some exceptions. For example, the direct drive wind turbines do not have a gearbox, and they usually have a DC generator rather than the AC generator. These may or may not include the converter to AC to the DC. So whatever the current that is we are using, it will be in a direct current of the alternating current. The conversion systems, it may not be having it. Can be located at the time at the tower base. In commercial turbines, a computer is always placed in order to control it. Now, my dear friends, nowadays no personally manually is required to there. Even nowadays, even if you go for a dam, the dam gates are always opened and controlled using a single person who operates the controllers. Okay, a controller is with a computer interface. Now, even this is being sitting at home, I can check what is the status, what is happening in the wind turbine. So that is a sophisticated system of the uh, connectivity it is made up of. An anemometer will always be there, takes the data. The controller takes the data from the anemometer. Anemometer is the one device which is being used to find out the velocity, not the direction. Direction is nothing but wind vanes are the one which is being used to find out the directions, whereas anemometers are used. It is yesterday in the previous to in the second session I guess, a cup-like structures, a series of cups which have been placed at the middlemost point, that is called as a anemometers, which are nothing but devices used to find out the velocity of the wind. Correct? So the controller or a computer which controller takes the data from anemometer to determine the directions of the wind turbine should be pointed, how to optimize the energy harvested, and how to prevent the overspeeding in event of high winds. This controller will also have the sensors and the feedback from the brakes, and it will give the instructions. Okay, horizontal axis wind turbines may be designed with one, two, three, or more blades. Based on, if you consider this is a hub, if my hand, my palm is a hub, how much is the maximum blades that we can have? I can have one, two, three, four, five, six. I can have a number of blades. How much maximum? When I have a maximum number of blades, it becomes like a plane surface or a plane circular surface. Then it cannot make. There should be some passage or a place so that the wind should bisect it. Is that clear? So it is not the maximum number of blades you will get maximum power. No, it is not at all true. An optimum of T is always ideal to get the maximum powers. Okay, one is I don't prefer it. It is only because mechanically balancing is difficult, and then you have to give a counter weight also on the other side of the single blade. A fewer blades a wind turbine has, the faster the blades must turn to harvest the same amount of energy as a wind turbine with more blades. So this is the idea behind of that. Okay, so the more turbines blades, uh, it may not effectively rotate in maximum speed. So we will always study about the minimum or the ideal number of blades makes it to generate more power for the available wind speed. That makes a horizontal axis turbines to be more sophisticated one. Is it clear? So in the next class we shall study once again the construction features and working principle of the wind turbine.